objectives, understand the role, types of fixed income securities in a portfolio, analyze its risk and returns, its strategies, using analytical tools, and uh, in evaluating an evaluation of portfolio performance using metrics and benchmarks, and uh, understanding or knowing the trends such as technology, ESG investing, and emerging markets in how it shapes the fixed income management. So first, let's define is what is fixed income. It is a types of it is art art or rather are types of investment securities that pay investors fixed interest or dividend payments until their maturity date. So besides fixed interest and dividend income, investors also receive the prepayment of the full principal amount of the investment security that they have invested. Then there are different types of fixed income securities. That's government. There's a government bonds which is issued by the government to finance government spending, and then corporate bonds issued by corporation to raise capital for various purposes such as expanding corporations or funding projects or acquisition. Then treasury bills and notes and notes or bonds. These are short-term debt and securities. So the purpose for investors is for quick cash access for short-term needs, and for issuer is this is issued by the government also. So this purpose also is for government spending. Then another type is mortgage bond backed securities. These are securities that are backed up by a pool of mortgages. So it can be residential loans or commercial loans that are created or bundled by banks or financial institutions to uh, which is a pool of loans from different homeowners. So, for example, for MBS, uh, example for this one is before that, the purpose or the benefit for the bank for issuing back securities is that for their able to free up their capital so they can be able to issue more loans. Also, it can since they will be up their debts, it will increase their liquidity and also promote investment since the illiquid securities are converted into tradable securities. Then, for investors, it offers them a way to invest in the housing market without buying a home directly. So, for example, if you are an investor and you want to invest in a real estate to earn income, but you don't want to experience the hassle of owning and then managing your property or the real property, so you can opt um to invest in an MBS. So in MBS, you can have a benefit of diversification because your investment is not only tied into a single real property or proper property, but in a pool of real property with their mortgage. So if even if one of the uh, borrower from that real property that you invest defaulted in payments, you will not be greatly impacted because others will go. It will be upset because it will be since the other homeowners will still pay their mortgages. Then another benefit is that you there's no property management. So since you just only purchase an mortgage security, not directly buy a property, you don't have to pay rental, repairs, tenants, or taxes related to the property. Then also it provide liquidity since in MBS you can even if you owned it, can have the option to sell it right away in the market if you really need if you need in case you need cash. Unlike that you own a house or you bought a house, if you sell it, it may take months or years to for you able to find a buyer. Then another type of fixed income is convertible bonds. So these bonds can be uh, converted into shares of the issuing company stocks at a certain price. So So basically, yung convertible bonds is a hybrid security that combine features ng both ng bonds and stocks. So purpose for issuer or yung companies, uh, uh, they issue convertible bonds to since it have a lower interest rates. So while still have lower interest rates, they don't need to put higher interest rates because uh, investors are attracted to this kind of bond because they can see that if they own this bond, they can be able to own stocks in in the certain company. So that's why it doesn't need to be higher interest rate. So investors still buys it, or many investors buys it because of the ownership of stocks. Then since since there's an uh, option of converting to stocks, of course it attracts investment. And also since the debt is converted to equity, it would there's a reduce of debt for the issuer. So the debt to equity will get lowered. Then for investors, capital appreciation due to stock price increase. So investing in this one, for example, the stocks of the company where he purchased the convertible bonds increases. So he can opt to convert at that time his bonds to stocks to 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 benefit on the increase on the stock price. So that's the one of the investors investment benefit. Another is there's a the since it's a bond, so it's have a fixed coupon payments. So they have a fixed income until maturity if they don't convert it to stocks. And they have the flexibility to for them or their option if they will convert it or not. Then um importance of fixed income portfolios. So here we first importance is diversification. So fixed income securities often have different risk and returns characteristics than stocks. So investing in fixed income provide diversification because you can be able to spread risk and improve your overall portfolio performance. Then another importance is risk mitigation. Since you can be able to spread risk, you can mitigate risk. So it will by that you can reduce your overall portfolio volatility, especially during periods of market turbulence. So for example, currently yung stock market ay nagkaka-encounter ng downturn and kung saan stock price continuously to go down. So, in that scenario, if ever na yung investment mo is consist of purely stocks only, then ang mangyayari niyan is malulugi ka na, so losses ka na talaga kasi puro stocks yung investment mo. Pero if yung investment mo is a balance of stocks and bonds, so ang mangyayari dyan, hindi ka ma-offset lang yung loss mo sa stocks kasi meron kang fixed income from bonds. And if also during stock downturn, tumaas yung bond prices, so if ever gusto mo ibenta mo, pwede mo siya ibenta ng malaking premium. Kasi during that time, other investors looking for safer investment which with fixed returns, which is yung like bonds, meron siyang periodic payments, so meron siyang fixed returns. Then another importance is that provides steady cash flow. So since predictable yung as kasi nga merong fixed periodic income na ma-receive, which is yung interest and yung dividend and also yung principal prepayment, it's considered predictable stream of income. And also define din yung maturity date, meron ding, and also lower din yung volatility niya since meron nga periodic na fixed payment na nare-receive. And in case na mabankrupt yung issuer is ang priority lagi na bayaran yung bonds bago yung mga equity holders. And also uh, less dependent yung fixed income in uh, less dependent yung fixed income. So market changes in market conditions unlike sa stocks. So they are not greatly impacted unlike the stocks. The main risk in fixed income portfolio management. So this one is discussed na rin before ng previous reports. So this one So parang recaptalan din. So interest rate risk, ito naman yung fluctuations. So fluctuation interest rates. So then credit that will impact the price of the fixed income securities. Then credit or default rates na naman yung in terms of the creditworthiness or the risk of default ng issuer. And then inflation risk naman yung increase ng price of goods and services, which will have a risk of decreasing the purchasing power. So pwedeng yung fixed payment na na-receive mo in the income securities can be at that time will be no or less value than before na kaya meron inflation risk. Then liquidity risk, difficulty to sell due to market problems. So for example, if merong economic downturn, recession, or meron yung interest rate is tumataas. So, yung mga may risk. Then strategies for fixed income portfolio management. So this one as yung passive and active was already discussed na rin before. So yung pag passive, ito yung minimimic mo lang yung performance ng market. So ang goal mo is to earn for goal is long-term return or long-term return for your investment. Then for active strategy naman, ito naman yung outperforming the market to get excess or higher return. So in passive strategies, you can do buy and hold, which is a simplest strategy kasi you can just buy a fixed income securities, then you will hold it until it reaches maturity. Then indexing naman, ito naman yung investing in diversified portfolio na of fixed income securities na nagtatrack ng specific market index like mutual funds or ETF. Then in active strategies, we can do interest rate anticipation. So in this one, you will actively monitor and adjust yung portfolio duration ng portfolio durations based sa prediction mo on the future interest rate movements. So yung portfolio duration, ito yung average time kung saan you consider mo na yung investment na you can hold, na i-consider mo na i-hold yung investment mo bago mo ibenta. Kasi during that time na hinold mo siya, hindi ka masyadong may impact ng changes na interest rate. But so parang kaya mo pa siyang kontrolin. Then then another is yung and also pala pagka so when mo so pagka for example, if yung interest rate is tumaas, then you need to adjust yung portfolio mo by for duration mo by investing into by adding an investment for on short-term bonds. Then kasi sila yung yun yung may mga shorter duration. Then kapag bumaba na may interest, mag-invest ka sa long-term bonds because yun yung merong long-term durations. Then another active strategy is doing credit analysis and sector rotation. Ito naman actively selection ng specific fixed income securities na based dun sa kung ano yung credit rating and kung ano yung sector performance ng securities na yon. So in this one, it requires ng in-depth research and analysis of individual issuers and market trends. Then another strategy for fixed income portfolio is immunization strategy. So in this one, it aims to match it aims to match yung duration sa investment horizon ng investors. So yung investment horizon, ito yung amount of time an investor plans na i-hold yung investment nila bago nila or before needing the money back or bago nila kailanganin yung pera. Mabalik sa kanila yung pera. So this way, yung portfolio is less sensitive to interest rate changes. So nakatulong siya para ma-reduce yung risk and ensure na yung impact ng rate increases or decreases offset each other over time. So ima-match lang yung duration sa investment horizon. Then analytical tools and fixed income portfolio management. So yung first three, just already discussed na before, yung calculation ng present value of cash flow. So this one is important kasi to know the true value of bond in the future considering ang different risks na discuss natin. Then measures naman, yield measures ito yung YTM, yung calculation expected annualized return pag yung bond is not under maturity, including yung cube and also then yung current yield naman yung assessment ng income generated relative to its current market price. Then duration and convexity, ito naman yung measurement on how yung bond price or yung security price and fixed income price will react or affected in terms of or sensitive in terms of interest rate fluctuations. So duration, this is for small interest rate fluctuation while convexity for high or significant interest rate fluctuation. Then spread analysis to naman basically ito comparison siya ng yield to maturity ng corporate bonds or corporate bonds to benchmark risk-free rate. So yung benchmark risk-free rate, ito yung mga securities na or fixed income securities na merong low risk of default. So a concept is a spread analysis is a higher credit spread generally indicates a higher perceived risk of default by the corporate issuer. So kailan ba kinukonsider na yung credit spread is a good credit or good credit spread? So depende yun kung ano yung credit rating ng bond and also ano fix ng securities and also kung for example if for example AAA or mga A na AAA, AA na rating ng securities, ang good credit spread niya is 1 to 2%. Then for lower rating naman na securities, good rating is 4%. Then then another factors na considered good credit spread is in terms of economic condition and market sentiment. So if for example, mayroong nangyari economic expansion, then and mababa lang yung risk of default. So mababa lang din yung credit spread. Then for recession, pag during recession, of course, mataas din yung risk of default and siyempre mataas din yung credit spread. So that's spread analysis. Bale, ito yung example. So, formula lang of fixed income is i-less lang yung sa risk-free rate na bond sa corporate bond. So, pang corporate bond po pala itong spread analysis. Then, so, example, a 5-year corporate bond has a yield to maturity of 6%. 5-year treasury bond with similar risk characteristics has a yield to maturity of 3%. So, based on our example, ang credit spread nito is 3%, 6% minus 3%. So, interpretation, so meaning, this 3% is, an example, is considered the additional yield investors demand to compensate for the higher credit risk. So, in other words, meaning yung investor, an example, is asking for an extra return na 3% para i-take on nila yung extra risk of purchasing this 5-year corporate bond instead na kunin nila yung 5-year treasury bond. And as you can see here, since yung government bond is seen na as a very safe investment because risk-free rate na siya. So, well, kumpara dito sa corporate bond na may high risk siya. So, the possibility na malaking possibility na hindi makabayad yung company in case na magkaroon ng business issues. So, here, yung 3% ng credit spread represents yung extra compensation na investors need for taking on the higher risk na corporate bond. So, ano mo pwedeng gawin dito ng issuer na corporate bond para bilhin niya ng investor? So, pwedeng gawin niya is mag-offer siya ng para makompensate yung credit spread na yun. Pwedeng gawin niya is mag-offer siya ng higher interest rate. So, baguhin niya yung interest rate ito, taasan niya. So, pag tinaasan niya interest rate, of course, malaki yung marireceive na periodic payment income ng investor. So, it will be likely na kunin niya yun. Pero ring if ever na hindi pa rin sumaldo yung Vancouver for them. So, habang hindi pa siya nakakarap ng new buyer, pwede niya gumawa siya ng ways or analysis para ma-improve yung financial health ng company niya and pataasin yung credit rating niya. So, the company can do that by reducing yung utang nila, taasan nila yung profit nila, or taasan nila yung cash flow nila. Pwede rin ah, na para mag-provide siya ng collateral asset or backup or gawin niyang secured bond itong corporate bond para ma-attract yung investor. So, for example, ibinili niya 'to in case na ma-default sila, pwede niyang makuha itong, for example, itong property nito na may equivalent value para to compensate. So, parang gano'n. So, that's the spread analysis. Then, for fixed income portfolio performance evaluation. So, this one, same lang din naman sa previous report ko sa portfolio portfolio management strategy and evaluation. So, here, kumpitin lang din yung total return, calculate total return. So, ito yung computation of overall return generated from the portfolio or investment portfolio. So, as you can recall, formula niya is ending value ng portfolio less yung beginning value plus income na receive, either interest or dividend income, divided sa beginning value to get the total return. Then, another metric is to compare yung investment portfolio mo or fixed income portfolio to the benchmark portfolios. So, you can compare it to S&P 500, bond indices or sector indices. Then, for another performance evaluation for fixed income is yung performance attribution. So, this one I will just say yung overview kasi it will be covered na sa report ni Ms. Crisel, I think. Based dun sa title na nakita ko ng report niya. Then, so what is performance attribution? So, ito lang yung method na ginagamit para i-analyze and explain kung yung performance ng investment portfolio. So, nakatulong to determine why a portfolio performed the way it did by breaking down yung returns into different components or factors. So, it involves analyzing yung yield curve positioning. So, ito, doing analysis lang ng sensitivity ng portfolio's duration compared sa benchmark duration. Then another is yung security selection. Ito naman, evaluating yung manager's ability na mag-select selection ng individual bonds that outperform or underperform similar bonds in the benchmark. And sector allocation, ito naman is analysis ng impact ng portfolio allocations to different sectors relative to the benchmark. Thank you.